So today we're going to be reviewing these stands. These are called the IsoAcoustics Iso Stands, and this is the ISO-130 model. And I think the 130 is referring to the width. So this is their smallest model in the lineup, designed for smaller speakers. Now, what is it exactly? It is an isolation kind of platform for your speakers to sit on. You might see behind me that we have the Monitor Audio Studios here that are sitting on these IsoAcoustics. And yeah, it's a bit of an unusual design. It's a patented design, I believe, from IsoAcoustics. And they say that rather than eliminating vibrations, the whole point is that the stand is like vibrating in tandem or vibrating in harmony with the speaker. So, you know, I'm not an acoustics expert. I don't know exactly how that works, but I can understand that it does take, obviously, design work to pull that off. So they've gone ahead and patented this. And to quote the website now, internal reflections are vibrations reflecting back up the speaker cabinet, and that causes smear. Smear is a result of artifacts replicated in both channels, which are perceived to be in the middle, causing the stereo image to collapse. The IsoAcoustics isolators reduce internal reflections to eliminate smear. The result is an improved stereo image of the natural spatial sound. So that's what they promise that you're going to achieve with these stands. How big are they exactly? Let me measure them for you now. So this is in the shortest setting. Here to here, it's about 7.4 centimeters, just under 3 inches if you work on imperial system. So that's how big they are in height. In width, they are 13, so the 130 mil. In inches, that is about 5. And then the depth is 6 inches and about 15 centimeters for depth. So it's compact. They're designed for compact speakers. And yeah, that's how big they are. What about the different height setting? Well, let me show you how to adjust the height. So they come with these rods, okay? So this is the long rod. And yeah, so what you do is you just pull it out like this. You don't need any tools, from what I can tell. And pull these out. And then you put these in like that, and then you connect it back up, and you're good to go. So now you have a taller isolation platform, and let's measure the height difference now. So the height of this is 22 centimeters. Inches, that's about 8.75 inches. So it's made a considerable difference, I think. The other thing that you can do is you can adjust the tilt, right? So what you do is, again, you've got a bit of fiddling to do, but you don't need any tools for putting, for adjusting the tilt. Now what you do is, when I'm finished doing it, is you get these kind of inserts. And these inserts, they go, so if I pull this out, there we go. Put those in either side. So one in there, and then one in there, and then you put it back in, and it adds basically some height to one of the legs. So if you want to increase the tilt, so it tilts upwards, you could make the front rods slightly longer and the back rods shorter, and that would make the tilt more like that. Okay, so that's how you do the tilt. But here's the thing, these inserts, once they're in, they're very difficult to get out. You need like a pair of pliers, unless you've got like a really strong grip. Then yeah, you have to get a pair of pliers to kind of pull them out. So that's just letting you know that. And the other thing is, when I put these in with my Monitor Audio Studios, I adjusted the tilt on both of them exactly the same way. I put the inserts in, and one of the stands had a slightly different tilt to the other one. And I tried pushing it in, I tried getting it perfect, but the other one always wanted to go back to its rest position, which was slightly higher than the other stand. So I had, basically, I had two speakers that were at different heights, and I didn't think that was very good. Perhaps I haven't got the, maybe I've got a faulty pair or whatever. I doubt it though. I just think that the way that you adjust the height on this is just not very refined. It's not a very good experience. So that's my take on that. Now, other things that annoy me about this, while we're here on the annoyed section, I think that because I have these Monitor Audio Studios, you can see that they're quite thin, narrow, but they're quite deep. This makes it a bit of a problem for the ISO stands because the width is right, it matches the monitor audio, but the depth is a bit short. So what happens is when you put the studio on this, it's kind of like the studio is hanging out off the back here, and if you press the back a little bit, they will tilt off. So you kind of have to move the monitor audios a little bit forward to find a balance. But when I read the IsoAcoustics website, it said that the speakers need to be in line with the front, which I wasn't able to do. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit annoying, is that, I could upgrade to the larger version, but then the larger version would be too wide. So I'm in a bit of a pickle with this one. How about the sound quality? So I guess that's why you're here, guys. Now, to make this really simple for you, I'm not gonna dress it up with special language, audiophile language or whatever. I'll just tell you as it is. Okay, so first of all, the biggest difference you will find is to the bass. I feel like the bass decay is better than other solutions that I've heard. The bass doesn't hang around in the room, and you get a little bit more instrument separation, a better stereo image. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into words how much of an improvement that is, because, I could say it's better, but how much better is it? 5% better, 10% better? Define it. It's very difficult to define audio quality. So that's why in my next video, watch my next video, I'm going to be doing a comparison, and that comparison I'm going to do with the IsoAcoustics versus the fluid audio. So this is another option that you might have. It's basically two pieces of MDF that's vinyl wrapped, and yeah, with these kind of gel pads at the top and bottom, and these are about half the price. So that's your alternative. And I'm going to do a test in the same video against the standard kind of foam isolators that people use, otherwise known as Auralex foam. That's the brand, but you can buy non-branded foam. I don't know why it would make such a difference, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to do in my next video, so make sure you watch it. Now, another alternative which I don't have to hand that you could be thinking about are the ISO Pucks. IsoAcoustics, they have a pair of ISO Pucks. They're like big feet, and yeah, I think maybe that's a good solution for me, because I have this problem with the monitor audios where they don't quite fit perfectly on the ISO stands. So yeah, I'm considering them, but they are very expensive. It's like £50 for two of them, so you need four, so it's £100 or so on isolation. And you think that £100, where could it be spent? It could be spent on improving the room acoustics, for example, which might even be probably better. So that's the range that you could consider. Another alternative to these ISO stands, it comes from a different range from IsoAcoustics. They call it Aperta, I think, and it's a lot more money. I think they're about £200, £250, whereas these, they sit around the £80 to £90 price, so they're about double the price or more. And the Aperta comes from not the studio range, but the home audio range. So I'm guessing that they're aiming this more at audiophiles, hi-fi enthusiasts, rather than people who are just using it to mix music. Maybe there isn't much of a difference in sound quality. I can't know because I haven't heard them. But from what I can tell, it's the same design, or very similar to design. But rather than use plastic, I mean, we have some metal here, I think it is anyway. They use aluminium, right? So it looks a bit prettier, it looks a little bit more robust, and yeah, it's double the price. One of my subscribers have literally this last week been chatting with him over YouTube, and he said that he's got them, he puts them on top of stands. So he has the isolation plus a stand. And from his description, he seems to like them. If I remember correctly, he said he's definitely heard a difference. So, but I don't know if he's heard these. So how much of a difference, we don't know. Perhaps I could do this in another video. Put your comment down below. Let me know, guys. If you let me know, maybe I'll put it into a video. One more thing is, do I feel it's worth it? Well, I think, yes, there is an improvement in sound quality from these. And it really depends on how much it matters to you. We're talking subtle differences here, guys. You know, it's, to some people, something small is really important to somebody else. So we're talking about that final 5% of sound quality here. If that matters to you, then I'm sure it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth the 90 quid, 100 quid. It might be worth the £200, £250 if you really care about that final 5%. It's diminishing returns, isn't it? That's how it works. But what else is there to put your money into? That's what you have to consider. You could put it into better speakers, better amplifier, better DAC, better room. There's other things to put your money into. And I don't know how much of a difference this makes that justifies the extra cost. Perhaps you could make your own design out of some MDF and layer it or something like that. There's probably some things that you can do yourself. But if you want an easy life, then I think, yeah, it's a good product. I mean, they've patented it, so it must be good. Yeah, so that's what I think about these. But don't forget to watch the next review where I compare these and these and this. Okay, and as always, guys, subscribe to this channel if you want honest reviews, unbiased reviews. As always, MDT, and I'll see you next time.